Hello! Notice something different? No mosquito suit. I'm pretty excited. I haven't been able to be out here without one in like a month, and it's really, really nice. Salve for the soul to be out here, no mosquito suit, in the beautiful high harvest season. So let's have a look at what's going on. All right, first up, we have a bed full of cucurbits, and you'll notice that they're still alive. Hooray! Last year, all of my cucumbers were long dead by now. In the front half, we have melons. Let me find one here for you to see. Sorry, I just saw something weird on a leaf. Here's a nice looking one. This one's called Pride of Wisconsin. It'll just keep ripening up. And over here we have our cucumbers. You'll see they do look sickly, and luckily that's not from the same sickness they had last year. Turns out cucumbers are a bit of a challenge. You can see there's some I need to pick right now. But yes, so they don't have wilt, which is what they had got last year from the beetles. Totally destroyed all of them. Wilt looks like, for anyone who's growing cucumbers, if you have really healthy green leaves and then they suddenly are just like mip and they just look sad, but they still are nice and bright green, that's bacterial wilt. There's a number of different things that this could be. It could be cucumber mosaic virus, but the pathology doesn't seem quite right for that. It could be a nutrient problem, a watering problem. I mean, the rain's been insane this year, so that definitely could be it. There's a couple different things. It doesn't quite fit into anything. So if you're watching this and you do recognize what this is, please let me know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Either way, we have more cucumbers than we know what to do with. So that is fantastic. Moving on, we have our tomatoes, which actually are not as good this year as they were last year. And I think it's probably because of the heavy rains that we got. I think I got potentially some blight or some kind of wilty problem or fungal problem in them, because I had to pull 4 or 5 of them that were just like basically brown and rotting. And I've been cutting off a lot of leaves that look like that on these ones too, but you can see we're still getting some good tomatoes coming in. These are black cherries. I got this from Nature and Nurture here in Ann Arbor, and I really love the flavor of these, so I recommend them. These ones are my blush. I grew these last year, also from Nature and Nurture. Oh, sorry. And they get a really cool like orange red stripey thing going on when they're ready. I believe this is an Amish paste. These ones did not do super well this year, so we'll see how that turns out. That's my first time. This is like my favorite type of tomato to grow. They're called Cherokee Purples. They get real dusky colored. They taste amazing. This is my second year growing them, like I said, and I really like them. These little guys here are called Golden Currants. They're all right. They're pretty good tasting, but I've tasted better little golden tomatoes like this, so I might try a different variety this year or next year. And then here's Prudence Purple. This is the other big like beefsteaky kind. Been a bit of a disappointment with these. They're not the color I expected, and which is okay, but I'm wondering if that means there's something wrong with the plant. And every time I harvest one, I wait till they get nice and bright red, and then I take it home and it gets like little rotten spots on them, and I don't really know what's going on there. So probably the plant's sick, but either way, it doesn't seem to have good disease resistance, and the flavor hasn't been fantastic, and just not a huge fan of these ones this year. Anyway, and then here's the other type of melon I'm growing. These are called Emerald Gems. They taste really, really, really good. I'm really excited for these ones when they come in. So over here will be the fall garden, which I did a lot better job of this year than last year. Last year I just forgot to plant things until way too late, forgot to water things, just was not very good. This year I've been doing everything pretty well. So I've got peas coming up over there. I'm doing shelling peas this fall. We have little baby rutabagas here. You can see those little ones. These are baby turnips. And then there'll be beets here. They haven't come up yet. Here are some adult beets, fully grown. Let me see if I can find a top to show you. Kind of see it in there. These are all really big, and I'm going to be pulling these and pickling them this weekend. I really love pickled beets. Next on the list, these will be parsnips. I just planted these. We'll see how that turns out. I'm going to overwinter them. Parsnips taste 1,000 times better if you let them sit all winter, so that's what I'm doing. Cabbages, you can see these are coming along. They're really starting to head up. They're not ready yet. I'm going to spray them with BT again pretty soon here, because they do have some caterpillar damage. All of my brassicas do, and I recommend BT for that if you are a gardener. Also organic, works really well. This is pretty exciting. I didn't do these very well at all last year. These are watermelons. Let me show you my real big one. Actually, I have 2, and I'm not sure which one's biggest. Check that out. Look at that huge watermelon. Amazing, right? So exciting. Can't wait to see how big this one gets. Hear that? Okay. All right, sorry, I'll stop. obsessing about it, but I love it. Onions, I've pulled most of them. If you're growing onions, you know that they're ready when, oh, this one looks ready, when this happens. It has a nice, I'll show you if I can. They grow like this, nice and tall, and if the stalk falls over like that, that means it's a ready onion to pull. So we'll take this one out. Nice red onion, good for storing. Red onions last a really long time. All right, just carry this with me. Here are some cauliflower, doing just fine. They'll start flowering up in the fall if they're like last year's cauliflower. Moving right along, trying to dodge the sprinkler. So it finally has been dry enough for long enough that I need to water again. Here are my peppers. I've only been able to harvest a few. I feel bad. I planted these in the wrong spot. This is like probably the most clay heavy bed in my whole garden, and that's really not what peppers want. So I think that they're a little bit behind where they would have been otherwise. And I have tons of peppers on the plants. You can see they're just full of these peppers, looking really nice. Look at these ones. They just haven't colored up yet. They're taking a long time. So soon we should have a very nice pepper harvest. You can see this one's just starting to go. This one will be it's hard to see in the video. It'll be a nice red when it's done. It should be all different colors. Let's see, a few more, I'll show you. Poblanos, jalapenos in here. So hard to see. But there's tons of peppers in there, just waiting for them to fully ripen. My celery is looking beautiful. I'm not really sure when to harvest it. I've been taking stalks, but you can see that's just like basically a full-grown celery. I've heard it gets bitter if you let it go to seed, like if you leave it in the garden too long. So I'm trying to like time that perfectly to get a nice big head of celery, but not a bitter one. So who knows if I'll miss the mark this year. This year's been weird and crazy. So, you know, I'm just letting things be experiments and trying to be gentle with myself. That's Swiss chard in there, the lighter green leaves that you see. This is Brussels sprouts. They're growing really nicely, and we won't harvest these till real late, and you'll see the sprouts sort of showing up along the stalk there when they finally start going. Leeks. Again, those will be a late harvest, if not an early spring harvest next year. Kale, I tried to seed some earlier and I didn't water it very well, so only a few survived, but I just reseeded it and I've got all the little babies coming up in there. So that's good. This is a volunteer piece of head of lettuce from the greens bed that was here in the spring. And this is many more rows of beets for the fall. I won't bother going in there because you'll see them later in other videos, but they're coming up looking good. Here's my second bed of cucumbers, also doing really well, and probably a little bit less affected by whatever that disease problem is than the other bed has. So again, just tons of cucumbers to pick in here, hoping they keep producing because I really like cucumbers. Broccoli's looking good. It's got a little bolty in places. You can see some of these taller stalks here. That means, you know, that those are bolting, you know, which means it's just putting up flowers, which isn't great. But we also do have some more head-like stuff forming. I have some better looking heads elsewhere. See, like there, nice head of broccoli. Oh, I didn't cover the fruit garden. I won't take you back there because it's wet, but you can see back here, these are my grapes. They're doing really good. Back here along the back are all my raspberries. Doing pretty good, though I did find fire blight on them, which is not at all great, but I cut it off and I am not seeing it really come back, which is nice. And they're starting to flower, so they're healthy, at least relatively. My tubs of sweet potatoes are doing okay, except for I put these tubs way too far in the back where I can't easily reach with the water. And so they've been drying out a bit too much. So next year I think I will be putting those further towards the front of the garden to make things easier. And then here are my 2 rows of strawberries, and they're doing pretty good. I think that they have some common leaf spot on them that I need to snip off. We'll see. And they've been putting out runners like crazy, like into the walkways that I probably need to deal with. But again, life is crazy and I haven't had time. So we're just seeing what they do. My collard greens are going well. I suspect that this is either caterpillar damage. Yes, you can see a culprit right there. See that little dark spot down there? That will be getting sprayed with BT soon. But anyway, collard greens still going well, just fine. Last few onions. My summer squash is good. I had a zucchini right here with my jar of Japanese beetles are now. I had a zucchini here and it just wilted instantly one day, so it must have been some kind of fungal infection because it was right around the time we were getting tons of rain. So I think that's what killed it, but you know, it's okay. Zucchini is not my favorite. I have 2 other summer squash coming along, and that's more than we need, you know, what need to eat anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. Speaking of, this is the Zephyr squash from my dad from last year, and you can see it's growing really well. I need to pick this one. They just keep coming. Carrot bed. Carrots are finally coming into fruition. However, I think I may have planted them too closely or didn't give them enough water because they really have been growing a lot slower than last year's carrots. So I might do that a little differently next year. And there's another bed of celery. And then the last thing to show you is the beans, which is probably my favorite thing in the garden right now. Here, I'll show you my favorite bit of it. Oh, actually, wait. If I'm shooting this video like this, I can't turn it. So how can I show this best so you can actually see it? I guess I'll just wing it. See, look at all those pretty beans. Look at this tunnel. I mean, I admit this is definitely like a Pinteresty kind of thing that I found online. So I can't claim credit for the idea, but it's pretty fun, isn't it? And the fact that I can be in here without getting eaten alive by mosquitoes is just a real treat right now. So there you go, bean tunnel, pretty cool. All right, anyway, just a little more detail here. This southern half of this tunnel is all of my dry beans. So beans come in 3 types. There are green beans that you eat just fresh from the store, like the whole stalk. I'll show you those down there. There are shell beans, which are like, if you're familiar with like lima beans or any kind of like, it looks like a green bean, but it's fresh, it's not dry. That's what shell beans are. And then there are dry beans, which anytime you eat bean soup or the dry hard beans you find in the store, that's what those are. And that's what these look like. So their pods are a little more flat. See how flat that is compared to like a green bean? And they're definitely not very good eating because they get really sort of like stringy and woody. So you leave these on the plant all the way till fall, right? And you let them, they'll fully dry out and turn like really brown and crispy and have nice hard beans inside of there. And you just put those in a jar and make soup out of them. Isn't it amazing? Like, that's just like food. I don't know. I love gardening. Anyway, and down here are my green beans, my snap beans. And I need to pick these. These are perfect size. You see how these are much rounder. It's just so beautiful in here, isn't it? All right, enough obsessing about it. That's the garden. I put more lettuce and spinach down here for the fall. That's coming up in little rows. You can kind of see. But that's all there is to see for now. Thanks for coming along for another little garden journey. This is probably about the best time of year in the garden. There's so much to eat and so much coming into fruition that you worked hard on. I'd love to hear how your gardens are going if you've got one, or any comments that you have. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe and healthy. Thanks for watching.